What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to bring you a one pot dish, and it is probably one of my favorite dishes that I've ever eaten. And it's a very simple dish. Like I said, it's a one pot dish. You can do it in the crock pot, or you can do it in the pan. Either way works. Obviously, if you have the time to do it in the crock pot, it's gonna turn out pretty dang good. I actually learned the original recipe, which I'll tell you the original while I'm cooking my version. The original recipe I learned from my stepmom and my dad, and it was such a good recipe that I actually had to, get it from her and cook it for myself. And so I wanted to share it with you. I believe it has some European history to it, so I'm not sure, honestly. I just know it's delicious. So let's get to it. Okay, so this particular meal is very simple. You're going to need so if you're just doing a small family meal, you can subtract literally half of everything. One bag of green beans, one thing of andouille sausage, and one thing of petite potatoes. Now, so if you don't want to do the frozen green beans, you can actually substitute those for canned ones, and you can also substitute the potatoes for canned ones as well. If you do the canned potatoes, the amount of time it takes to cook actually is shorter because they've kind of already been par baked a little bit. So because these are fresh, it'd take a little bit longer to get them down to a softer form. So what we're going to do first, though, is we're going to go ahead and chop up our andouille sausage and put this aside because we don't need it yet. Chop up our andouille sausage and go ahead and get it going. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and let this kind of char the pieces a little bit and kind of make some little bits in the bottom. Just let it sit. Let me get it all. I'm just trying to get everything kind of where everything's it's sitting on the bottom. So we're gonna let this sit for a little bit. Not gonna touch it, and then we'll go ahead and stir it up a little bit more, and then we'll come back. We're trying to brown all the pieces, and if it put some bits at the bottom, fantastic, because once this is done, we're going to come in with a little bit of beer and really go ahead and take care of those bits in the bottom. So let's let this cook and we'll come back to you. Go ahead and take these potatoes and we're just going to chop them in half. If you feel like you want to go ahead and chop them into fourths, that's up to you. I'm just going to chop them into halves. Unless they're very large, then I'm going to go into thirds. So like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and chop them in half. And let me go ahead and get something to put them in. That'll work. So, like I said, just going to go ahead and... because you got to consider, they're going to break down in the cooking process. I'm going to cook them with the sausage once it gets done. So it cooks in that... because it's got seasoning in the andouille sausage as well. Now the great thing about this meal is that it's very versatile. You don't have to use andouille sausage, and you don't have to use these potatoes. You can use any potatoes you want. You can go and get just standard potatoes. It's whatever you feel like using. I just use these just because because I like leaving the skin on. There's very little skin on them. You can use regular smoked sausage. You don't have to use Tony Chachere's like I'm gonna use. You can use the other variation, the original one. It used Italian seasoning, but it's the exact same thing except it uses smoked sausage, and then it used Italian seasoning instead of Tony Chachere's. I like it because I like Tony Chachere's because it's a bit spicy. It's got more of a kick to it, and the other one is a fantastic meal, but this one just works out so much better. One other thing you're going to need is a stick of butter. Obviously it's going to be a half a stick if you're only doing half of it, but yeah, that's the great thing about this. And if you feel like you want to add other stuff, you can add onions to it. You can add corn. I like to add corn sometimes. Let me stir this up real quick. Oh yeah. See? Yeah, I like to have these bits on it and whatnot. Looking good. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue cutting up the potatoes, continue cooking this, and I'll come back to you. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of beer here. Doesn't need to be much. So we'll let that do its thing. It's taking it's adding a whole nother layer of flavor to this. And you can use any beer you want. I figured some sort of European beer would best suit for a European dish, even though I did kind of Cajuinize it. So once I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit, 3 cups of water if you go with the single serving meal, but it's gonna be 5 cups. I found that if you do 6 cups, that's too much water. It takes too long to bring it up. Now you're gonna bring it to a rolling boil, and like I said, you're gonna let this just kind of sit. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna want to get all these juices cooked into these potatoes. And one other thing to add, so I don't ever measure it. I just kind of cover the top like that, and that's it. And I'm not even gonna stir it. I'm just gonna let it sit there and let it bring up, like I said, I'm gonna bring it up to a little bit of a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce it down to about medium and let it do a fast simmer, because we want to go ahead and reduce all of this. So once the water is reduced at least half, that's when we're gonna add in the butter and let the butter get up in there and start cooking down. For right now, we're gonna wait though, and we're also gonna wait on the green beans, because we want to add the green beans in later. Okay, so the water has reduced by about half. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and add in the butter and stir that in. There we go. Alright. We're gonna let that completely melt and mingle, and then we'll go ahead and restir it, and then we'll add in the green beans. Got a little ahead of myself and started adding the green beans in before I hit the record button, but you get the idea. It's time to start adding the green beans in. If I can get the right spot to open it up at. There we go. So remember to use a big enough pot. Mine's just big enough. Like, just big enough. Go ahead and let it come back up again, because the frozen peas or green beans have really lowered the temperature. So let that come back up nice, rolling simmer again, and then we'll move on from there. So after letting it simmer for about an hour, enough to reduce it, as you can see, it has reduced the water down to a very nice sauce right here. So that is the goal, and so now that is the complete dish. And let me tell you, this is going to be fantastic. You want it to see, like, the potatoes are still intact, but they've broken down somewhat, and the starches have helped create that thick sauce. So, and the sausages has tendered up some more. This, my mouth is watering right now just thinking about eating this. So let me go ahead and bowl this up, and yeah. Now you could add some rolls with this, because it does have a sauce there that you can, rolls go great with this. And if I had some butter bread, I would totally go with some butter bread. Get a little bit of this here sausage here. Oh yeah. Look at that. That just looks so good. Oh man. So, there you go. That is the complete dish, and let me tell you, it's fantastic, but I can feel that it is hot. So I'm gonna hold on a second so I don't melt my mouth, and then I'm gonna take a bite of this. Feel free to add as much salt as you feel necessary. I didn't add any to mine because I'm going to be giving it to various other people, so I want to let them add as much salt as they can. And I used the more spice Tony Chachere's, so the original works just as fine. So whichever one you feel like. And like I said, if you don't want to go with the Cajun setting, you can go with Italian seasoning. And honestly, you can go with just about any seasoning you want, and you can choose just about any sausage you want. You could even go with some of that field trip, the fake sausage. You know, you could go with some of that, and it would probably blend in with everything just fine. So, if that, you know, if you're going for a vegan option, you've not watched this video at all because it's all been about meat. So, but if you know somebody, you can offer that up to them. So that's gonna be it, guys. I hope you liked this first video. The next time you see another video from this channel will be in a whole nother kitchen. I am upgrading, and yeah, I just wanted to do at least one video in this kitchen. But like I said, gonna be upgrading here very, very soon. So look forward to that next video. See you next time.